Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you guys here on this 10th, Wednesday, the 10th of July, 2024. Thank you for tuning in. This is really big right here. Saudi Arabia has threatened the G7 countries with selling European debt. They're going to sell the European debt because of the confiscation of Russian assets. So, I'm going to tell you, all during the dollar's reign as the petrodollar, Saudi has been an ally. Saudi's got the oil that the world needs. And now, we see these countries coalescing together as the BRICS nations, with immense amounts of power. And they have one thing that they want, big time. They want to come out from underneath the dollar's hegemony, world hegemony. And they want to have that control. It's all about monetary control of the world, this whole thing, and it ain't going to end pretty. We see sides being drawn, and this is part of it, big time. Now, India is getting very cozy with Russia, and of course we see Modi and Putin together here, and we see that he's receiving the Order of St. Andrews, an honor from Russia's Putin. President Vladimir Putin presented the Order of St. Andrews award to Indian Prime Minister Modi. The two leaders have offered strong words of support for their country's relationship. So we see this division. We see India, Turkey is a little bit been on the fence. India has been a little bit on the fence. We see these countries, which way are they going to swing? Something about just in general, it seems like the world always roots for the winners, not for the losers. Take professional wrestling, for instance. I know it's been a big show pretty much over the years. They put on a big show. But the crowd doesn't root for the loser. They always root for the winner, the biggest, the strongest. And this block that's forming right now in the East is tremendously powerful, and it's getting more powerful by the day. It's heading toward a rumble, because the West is not going to let go of that authority that they have of being the world reserve currency and having that monetary authority, the SWIFT system, the World Bank, everything else that goes together with all this power that they have. And they've used that power, they've used it as a stick against Russia, and it didn't work out so well. All of these just endless amounts of sanctions and everything else. And what's the Russian economy doing? Well, their GDP is looking phenomenal. Meanwhile, what are we doing over here? What's happening with our economy? It's getting on the verge or on the brink. America itself is totally divided right now. And to the two political parties, and this election coming up might be a time frame when the East looks over at the West and says, hey, you know what, this is the best time ever for whatever they're planning. They're looking for vulnerabilities in our system here. And, there are some big, huge vulnerabilities. Just look at this. Our housing market's getting ready to crack. Wide open. Real estate's big. You remember during the 2008 financial crisis, real estate was one of the big things, The housing market's showing cracks right now. the Fed's rate hiking cycle and everything is flipped it on its head. If we look down here, where did I see it? They're starting to drop, seriously drop the price of houses. But this could be the very edge of something that's much, much bigger. Pending sales, they're all starting to go into a steep decline. Everything is. Says active list of homes for sale. These are all the charts right here. Inventory glut. Takes longer to sell the median home. It might be getting ready for a huge crash in the real estate market. It might be right on the verge. I mean, they're fantastically overpriced, and you know, people can't, like, part of what's been supporting the economy leading up until this time is people refi on their homes, people getting new mortgages, etc., taking out loans on existing mortgages, etc., etc. And it's been helping to stabilize and generally strengthen the economy. When the real estate market goes, though, and already ahead of time, the banking system is already basically, they can't get refinancing and stuff at lower rates and stuff, so they haven't got that excess money that's coming in that they could use. I mean, they could use that money they might get $30,000 on refinancing their home or whatever. An extra $30,000 that they can spend on real world things in the economy. And this was happening big time back and during the time when all those stimmy checks were going out and everything else, and people were a bit flush with money. It's not like that now. That's all dried up, I'll tell you. Now, down in Texas right now, to switch the subject, down in Texas right now, we just had a hurricane hit, and it made 2 million people without power. Right now, it's 1.7 million people without power, and then the heat comes soaring in. And I mean, it's boiling. Ferocious winds they had, and floodwaters and stuff, and the hurricane just barely cleared out, and the heat come boiling in. Extreme heat is putting millions of people in Texas in danger because they haven't got their air conditioning. That's the big thing, you know, that how people nowadays survive a really bad heat wave is they just turn the air conditioning on. I mean, if you got no electricity, you can't do that. What do? If the temperature's like 105 degrees or 100 degrees and high humidity, my gosh, I'll tell you, it'd be some hard sleeping at night. When the temperature doesn't go below 80 degrees even at nighttime, it's like 85 degrees even at nighttime and high humidity, and you got no AC, that's miserable. And no fan either. If you got no electricity, you can't even run your fan. Oh, that's miserable. You just lay in bed and you toss and turn all night because you're just sweating. First, your back gets all wet with sweat, and then you turn over and it starts to dry out a little bit, but now your stomach's getting all wet with sweat, and that's your night, just tossing and turning in a hot bed. Hot, I mean hot. And the window's open and no air's coming in, or it seems like no air's coming in through the screen. What a time. And then the next day it goes up to a sizzling 100 degrees or whatever. Ugh. That's just pure hell until the AC comes back on again. Well, I'm kind of giggling a little bit because I know how bad that can be. And I'm not giggling now. Seriously, guys, this is really, for those 1.7 million people, it's probably pretty miserable. So I'm sorry for you guys, but hang in there, because in a few days the power is probably going to come back on, and you can probably turn your AC back on again. Now, support for Biden is slipping in New York. And the statement is, we're a battleground state now. for New York. That's how bad this situation is. They're scrambling around. Biden is staying put. He's staying in the race. And he's the president, and he says he's staying in the race. He's staying in the race. So each day that goes along now is moving closer and closer to the election time. And if they were to get a new candidate in there, what are they going to do it at the last minute or something? I don't know. But I don't know what they're going to do, but I do know they're scrambling behind the scenes. But a lot of good it's going to do them. Because when the president says he's staying in, he's staying in. Now, what about over in Iran right now? They're expanding, rapidly expanding 2 Iranian ballistic missile facilities. And they're also being used to boost missile production. But what about nuclear weapons? Are they building those? Maybe they are. Maybe they aren't. I just don't know. And they're not going to tell us about that part of it, whether they're building them or not. But they have been enriching uranium for a very long time. And they do have, like, they have to get it up to a certain point of enrichment where it becomes weapons grade. And then they can start to make these nuclear weapons, but they definitely have the delivery systems, and that's what these missile production's all about. And it says right here about these missiles, and there's one blasting off. It says that they're expanding increasing the production of conventional ballistic missiles. It said they have 3,000 missiles that they have, including those that can be fitted with nuclear warheads. Question mark, do they have the nuclear warheads to fit on those missiles? So that's the delivery system. They got the delivery system. It just seems to me that if you've got the enriched uranium, if you're a country like that, it's probably harder to get the delivery system patched out and ironed out, I would think, than if you've got the enriched uranium. Building the bomb itself might not be as hard as getting the missile system to deliver it. But they got the missile system to deliver it. That's guaranteed right now. Now, looking over to the financial system, which is, the banking system is crumbling. I could see that if something were to happen with this war situation, the whole financial system could crash. If something big were to happen with the whole war situation. And like I say, it's building up. It's building up to something big. Probably coming in around the election time. So we might see some fireworks go off. I'm not talking about fireworks. I'm talking about fireworks as in the world geopolitical scene. So get your popcorn out. This whole thing might really be, around election time, might really, really set your hair on end what might happen. Be prepared mentally, because it could be anything, but not good, not favorable. And the effect it would have upon an overinflated stock market. We're looking at 30.90 for silver today. Silver and gold, I think, are going to get even stronger. Gold is up $15 at $23.79. Crypto, I think, right here, the Bitcoin, I've stated yesterday, and I'm sticking by it, that in the next short time frame, I'm expecting it to go back up into the 60s. I think so. That's what I think. I think it's getting ready to move into the 60s. I said that yesterday, and I say it again today. I think that we're going to see a 60 handle on it pretty soon here again. So, if you're into Bitcoin, that's a little bit of a price drop, and it might be the most price drop you're going to see for the next little bit. Now, maybe, I'm not saying definitely, but the Dow Jones is up today. The S&P is up today. So the S&P is up 25 points at 5602. And the Dow is up 140 points at 39,440. We're looking at crude oil up over $1. It's up $1.03 at 82.44 today for crude. Now, taking a look over at our bond markets, and we're seeing falling yields, but it's not real big. It's only a small amount. The U.S. 10 years fell 1.7 basis points, sits at 4.28. And the U.S. 30 years at 4.47, and it's fell 2 basis points. And finishing off with our dollar index today is at 105.06, and it's fell 7% of a 0.07%. It's fell. It's fallen ever so slightly today. 105.04. Thank you guys for listening to my show. Really appreciate my audience out there. And you guys, midweek, we're halfway through the hump toward the weekend. And anyway, guys, you guys have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.